The cold wind of the northern frontier cut across the Roman column like a blade. Hundreds of soldiers marched in heavy armor, shields on their backs, spears in their hands. Boots struck frozen ground in rhythm, yet every step felt heavier than the last. Among them walked Marcus, a young recruit from the farmlands of Italy. His face was pale, his breath white in the icy air. He had dreamed of honor, gold and glory when he joined the legion. But as he trudged forward under the weight of his pack, he began to realize the truth. This was not the Rome of marble temples and cheering crowds. This was the edge of the world where death waited in the shadows. The veterans walked with grim silence. Their armor was dented, their faces scarred, their eyes sharp and cold. They did not boast or laugh. They only marched because they knew what was coming. "Keep up, boy," one grizzled soldier muttered as Marcus slowed. "The frontier eats the weak first." Marcus swallowed hard and quickened his pace. He dared not look around, but he felt the vast emptiness pressing in. To his right stretched dark forests, thick and endless. To his left, rolling hills of frost and stone. Somewhere beyond, barbarian tribes waited. Tribes who hated Rome, who attacked without warning, who left no survivors. The sun dipped lower as the column pressed on. Every mile felt colder. Supplies wagons creaked under the strain, pulled by weary mules. A centurion's voice barked orders. "March steady. Keep formation." By evening, the legion reached a small rise. Ahead of them, looming against the sky, stood the walls of a frontier fort. The fortress looked strong with its stone towers and high wooden palisades, but to Marcus it felt less like safety and more like a prison. They set camp just outside the walls. Fires were lit, tents raised, and guards posted. Marcus sank to the ground beside his gear, his legs trembling. He closed his eyes, grateful for the chance to rest. But sleep did not come. The forest beyond the camp was too quiet. No birds sang, no animal stirred. It was as if the land itself was holding its breath. "Do you hear it?" whispered one soldier near him. "Hear what?" Marcus asked. "The silence," the soldier replied. "The tribes are out there watching, waiting." Marcus shivered and pulled his cloak tighter. He remembered the rumors he had heard on the road. Raids at night, soldiers dragged screaming into the dark, patrols that never returned. That night, as the campfires burned low, Marcus was ordered to stand guard. He took his post along the outer line, spear in hand, shield by his side. The cold bit through his armor, making his teeth chatter. Hours passed in stillness. The moon glowed faintly above, casting pale light across the trees. Marcus stared into the dark forest, his heart thudding in his chest. Every shadow seemed alive, every branch a lurking figure. Then it came, the sound. Low and distant at first, then rising through the night. A horn. Deep, mournful, and inhuman. It echoed from the forest, rolling across the hills like thunder. Marcus froze. His grip tightened on his spear. Other guards turned their heads, eyes wide with fear. Another horn answered, this one closer. Then another, from the far side of the forest. The sound surrounded them, shaking the night. Veterans rushed to their posts, shields raised, eyes scanning the dark. The centurion barked, "Hold steady! Do not break ranks." Marcus's mouth went dry. His first night on the frontier, and already the enemy was calling. He had dreamed of glory, but now he wondered if he would live to see the sunrise. The horns faded into silence, leaving only the crackle of campfires and the pounding of hearts. The soldiers whispered among themselves, but none dared speak loudly. The message was clear. The tribes knew they had arrived. Marcus stared into the forest, his breath shallow, his body tense. He realized that the long march had only been the beginning. The real trial was yet to come. The gates of the frontier fort creaked open with the weight of iron and wood. Marcus followed the line of soldiers inside, his eyes wide as he stepped through. From a distance, the fortress had looked strong, but within its walls it felt smaller, colder, and strangely claustrophobic. Stone towers loomed overhead, scarred by years of attacks. The walls smelled of tar and smoke, blackened where fire had licked them. Soldiers moved about with weary discipline, carrying bundles of wood, stacking shields, sharpening blades. No one smiled. No one welcomed the new recruits. "This is home now," a veteran muttered behind Marcus. "If the cold doesn't kill you, the tribes will." The fort was divided into grim sections. The barracks were long, narrow buildings with straw-filled beds that stank of sweat and mold. The food stores were small, already half empty. Salted pork, dried beans, and stale bread were all they had, and the quartermaster's sharp eyes followed every hand that reached too quickly. Marcus tried to steady himself. He had imagined triumph when he joined the Legion, standing guard over shining Roman walls honored with banners and music. But the frontier fort was nothing like his dream. It was survival, pure and raw. The daily routine began at dawn. Trumpets wailed through the icy morning air, dragging tired men from their beds. Soldiers trained in the courtyard, their breath rising like smoke as they slammed shields together in formation drills. Centurions barked orders, their whips snapping against anyone who faltered. Marcus struggled under the weight of his shield during practice. His arms ached, his legs shook. A veteran sneered, "If you can't hold a shield, boy, the tribes will cut you in half." When training ended, the real work began. Soldiers hauled timber to repair the walls, dug trenches around the perimeter, and patched holes in the towers. Marcus blistered his hands on the shovel, his back burning with pain, yet he dared not complain. He saw how the officers dealt with those who did. Punishments were harsh, discipline absolute. At night, when the drills and labor ended, Marcus collapsed onto the straw bed. The barracks echoed with coughs, groans, and the gnashing of rats in the dark corners. Sleep was never peaceful. Sometimes the night was broken by the sound of horns in the distance, or worse, the faint howl of barbarian war cries carried by the wind. Whispers spread quickly through the fort. Some said the tribes had spies inside, men who had sold loyalty for food or coin. Others claimed there were tunnels beneath the walls, dug by unseen hands, waiting to unleash an attack from below. Marcus tried not to listen, but the fear grew with every passing day. One evening, the gates opened for a returning patrol. Soldiers stumbled in, blood staining their cloaks. One man had an arrow lodged in his shoulder. Another carried the limp body of a comrade. The fort gathered in silence as the commander shouted questions, but the answers chilled everyone. "They're watching us," the patrol leader rasped. His face was pale, his eyes haunted. "Not one tribe, many. Gathering in the forest. They know we are weak." A heavy silence fell over the courtyard. The veterans exchanged grim looks. Marcus felt his stomach twist. He had thought the walls were strong enough. That discipline alone could hold the enemy back. But now he saw the truth. These walls were only as strong as the men within them, and those men were already stretched thin. That night, Marcus lay awake staring at the rafters above. Every creak of wood sounded like footsteps. Every gust of wind against the wall felt like claws scratching for a way inside. The fort was meant to protect them, but to Marcus it felt like a cage, surrounded by an enemy that grew bolder every night. As the watch changed outside and the fires burned low, a horn sounded again from the forest. It was distant but unmistakable. The sound made every soldier freeze in place, hearts pounding, hands tightening on spears. Marcus's breath caught in his throat. The tribes had not forgotten them. They were waiting, watching, planning. And deep inside, Marcus realized something terrifying. Life in the fort was not about living. It was about surviving long enough to see the next dawn. The frontier fort woke before dawn. Mist clung to the ground, heavy and gray, wrapping the camp in silence. Soldiers moved like shadows, checking weapons and warming stiff muscles by dying embers of the night's fires. Marcus stood at his post on the wall, spear in hand, trying to shake the cold from his bones. His eyes burned from lack of sleep, but fear kept him awake. The forest beyond the fort stretched into darkness, its trees like jagged spears stabbing the sky. For a moment, everything was still. The only sound was the wind sighing across the hills. Then it came. A horn's mournful cry shattered the silence. Deep and long, it rolled across the forest like thunder. Marcus's heart stopped. Every soldier stiffened, hands tightening on their spears. No more an answer.